Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today's video is going to be about why impeachment is backfiring on the Democrats. But before we get started, please leave a like on the video and please hit the big red subscribe button. We just hit 18,400. Can we get to 19,000 by the end of the year? Hopefully so. So please hit the big red subscribe button so we can get there. So now let's get started. Impeachment, I don't believe, is helping the Democrats out. We've seen a lot of polling come out. And in recent weeks, aside from one or two outlier polls, the outlier poll in Politico, you've seen the outlier poll in NPR, state-run media, by the way, we've seen Reuters have a 7% increase in favor of Trump. We've seen Gallup have a major increase in favor of Donald Trump as well. We have the biggest array of polling data we have in an aggregate in a long time, probably more so than in any point of the Trump presidency, and it shows that his approval rating is 45%, even during this impeachment fiasco. The spread is just -7. This is honestly one of the closest the gap between approve and disapprove has ever been in Trump's presidency. It shows that the Democrat Party is failing because the American people just don't care about the impeachment. They're not buying the BS anymore. And finally, no is favored on impeachment. Now, more Americans say they don't want to impeach Trump than Americans that do. This isn't just one poll. This is just the entire polling aggregate showing this. A couple polls, you'll see outliers every other poll. Even polls like Quinnipiac are saying that Trump should not be impeached and removed from the presidency. Most Democrats don't get this. Most Democrats in Trump districts, these people like Alyssa Slotkin in Michigan's 8th, Haley Stevens in Michigan's 11th, and many more across the country are doing their people in their district a major disservice, and we will vote them out. I'm going to do a video after the impeachment vote about how the House is going to look in 2020 because the American people are not going to let this go. They're not going to forgive these representatives for what they're doing. It's just nothing but petty partisan politics. We have more important things to do in this country than go after the president, who really honestly didn't do anything wrong. I mean, we've got people on the street. We've got illegals crossing the border. We've got a lot of things that have to be taken care of in this country. But no, the Democrats would not focus on any of these. They are focusing on taking out Orange Man because Orange Man bad. Well, guess what? To the majority of people, they have ordinary concerns. They don't care about Orange Man, okay? Trump is not the worst person in the world to even a lot of people in the middle and the center left. It's just true. And the Republicans are getting more energized by this. Donald Trump is going to go all around the country next year. He's going to do all the rallies he can. He's going to win because even if he does get voted in impeached, he's going to be acquitted in the Senate by a supermajority, arguably. 55 senators are going to vote in favor of keeping Trump in office. I mean, Mitt Romney could defect because he's a turncoat Republican, but even so, we could probably get Doug Jones and Joe Manchin to vote in favor of him as well. And if Doug Jones doesn't, he's already dead on arrival. And it's really going to be interesting to see how it looks because, especially in states like Michigan where you have Gary Peters, if he votes to impeach Trump, that could mean his fate in Michigan could be done because John James will wipe the floor with him in 2020. He'll probably win by 5 points. And we're going to get to the map in a second here, but I'd just like to also mention the fact that not only is his favorable rating up, not only is the impeachment underwater for Democrats, Trump, who was losing to Biden by 13, 15 points in the aggregate, is just down 4 percentage points, and that's even with Quinnipiac, and we know how far left on the polling firm Quinnipiac is. It's literally like the left-wing Rasmussen. But the USA Today poll showed it being, 3, Biden up by 4, and by the way, Trump can lose the popular vote by 4 percentage points and still win re-election. I'm looking at this map here, and I'm seeing with all the trends in place, with all the trends you would assume, this is exactly what the map would look like. Donald Trump will still win the state of Arizona, Texas, Georgia, and the Sun Belt. He'd still take North Carolina, Florida, Ohio, and Iowa. He would pick off Wisconsin because of trends. Trends in Wisconsin would push it in his column. He doesn't even need any state. The magic number is 270. Yeah, we could go on and on about how Trump could win Michigan, he could win Pennsylvania, he could win Minnesota, he could win New Hampshire, he could win Maine, he could win New Mexico, he could win Nevada. That is true. That's roughly the high estimate that I would expect, 333 to 205. But that's not necessarily the realistic course of action in many people's minds, and I could easily see why. I mean, it's a long shot at the moment, but Donald Trump is going to go out there, he's going to do his rallies, he's going to do everything he can to energize Republicans. He's got the fundraising advantage. He didn't have it last time. Democrats are going to be the more fractured party. Republicans are united behind Trump, and now the Democrats have just energized Trump's base with this impeachment. It's like they set a mousetrap up and they got caught in it. It's absolutely ridiculous in their favor. It just doesn't work. And how out of touch have these elites become with the average American is the question, because they really have become that out of touch. Now, even people in the middle are saying, well, Donald Trump's not perfect, but the Democrats are just out of their mind. And this is kind of what's happening in the social engineering that they've been able to do over the past couple of years to subvert the culture in favor of them for electoral gain is just immense. We definitely need to do something about that in this country, because even after Trump wins in 2020, then what happens? In 2024, you just go back to the neocon, neo-lib dichotomy of things, where you have the liberals, or the leftists, I should say, because they're not even really liberal, that sit there and subvert the culture and subvert the democracy, or the neocons who just decide to let them, and that are just the neo-libs, but 5 years ahead of the curve. The problem is they call themselves conservatives. What exactly do they conserve? Exactly. They don't really work to conserve the family. They really don't work to conserve anything, and that's partially become a problem. So the Republican Party is going to have to do some soul searching after the election. Do they go back to the Romney route? Do they go the full, Tucker Carlson economic populism route? Or do they go somewhere in the middle? Do they go with somebody like Ron DeSantis or Don Jr.? Even those individuals might have flaws in the eyes of the economic populist right, which is really something that we'll have to see, and it's something that will be foreshadowed in the future come 2020, 2024, to see if, Trump really overthrew a lot of the neocons, but are they really going to try to overthrow Trump in favor of somebody that's considered more of a populist? So we'll really have to see when it happens. But in the meantime, Trump is doing well in the polling for 2020. He's at 44 against Biden. Biden's well under 50. That's more good news. The polling aggregate shows him under 50. That means Trump has a lot of room for improvement, and Biden has a lot less room for error. If you're over 50 in the polling aggregate, usually it means you're safe to win. Biden under 50, that's a little bit of a problem for him, as we can see it right now. And with all the gaffes, the hairy legs, the calling voters fat, imagine if, the fact is Trump has called people, his protesters fat, but arguing with potential voters, telling the voters to vote for Trump if they don't like you, calling voters fat that just happen to have a simple disagreement with you, I mean, the guy's lost his mind. His claim to fame was being Obama's VP, Obama's VP, Obama's VP. Now Obama's even leaving him hanging out to dry for some reason. It's not the fact that he hasn't endorsed him yet. It's the fact that he's really done all he can do to simply not endorse him. It's almost like he really doesn't have a favorite. Because last time around, obviously Hillary was the favorite. He never said so, but he did say, I know Hillary more. He could have come out and say, well, I don't really want to make an endorsement. I know Biden more than the other candidates, which is true, by the way. But it's just crazy. Obama, the Democrats, now it's Biden. What do you expect? They're going so far left, they're going off a cliff. And it's not just Biden, because it's not really just Biden. It's the entire party as a whole. Don't be mistaken, Biden's a centrist. Okay, socialists going the speed limit. That's the neo-libs. That's the Democrats now. And as for the neocons, they're just the left going the speed limit. They don't do anything to conserve anything. They don't do anything to conserve American liberty. They don't even do enough to conserve like the traditional conservative things like capitalism or small government, which they should, because those are good things. Those are the spirit and the backbone of this country, but they don't really do enough to conserve it. But Trump has done a little bit more in favor of that, but seems like next time you got to go around and just pick somebody else like Ron DeSantis that could even further drive the left nuts, especially because he's a lot more optical than Trump too. I love Trump, but obviously not necessarily the best for optics and in one aspect or the other. But that's for the future, and for today it looks like that Trump is doing pretty well. He's closing the gap on Biden. He's closing the gap on his favorability rating, and right now I'm arguing he's got 270. He's going to get that 270. He's going to get that 270 to win. And he is going to win with probably a lot more than 270 when it's all said and done, by the way. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please like this video. Please comment down below and hit the big red subscribe button. Let's get to 19K by the end of the year. Follow me on social media, links in description. Donate to the Patreon, links in description. And join the Discord, links also in description. So thanks everybody for watching, guys. Red Eagle, out.